The approaching anniversary of the invasion is not only an occasion to recount the horrors of the past 2 years, but also a reminder that the armed conflict in Ukraine did not begin on 24 February 2022, but has been ongoing in the country's east since 2014.
The agenda is adopted.
The United Nations was not formally part of any mechanism related to the peace process in Ukraine, such as the Normandy format. The United Nations was not invited to be a participant in the various negotiations in Minsk, nor to the 2014 and 2015 agreements. Neither was the United Nations involved in the implementation efforts led by the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE, in the Trilateral Contact Group. We therefore refer to those directly involved to reflect on the details of these processes and the implementation of the related agreements. The United Nations was not invited to be a participant in the various... Last week in this Council, Under-Secretary General Di Carlo once again raised alarm about the increasing civilian casualties and the deteriorating humanitarian situation in Ukraine. She also regretted the lack of prospects for peace. Indeed, we remain concerned about the escalatory trajectory of this war, with intensifying attacks on civilians and acts that could further diminish the prospects for a just and lasting solution.
Руководство Украины не скрывало, что оно не готово реализовывать Минский комплекс мира. А будь они реализованы, то той трагедии, которая происходит на Украине сегодня, не случилось бы. Трагедии, соучастниками которой являются Соединенные Штаты и коллективный Запад, пытающиеся реализовать свои геополитические цели за счет Украины и ценой ее граждан.
But no matter how hard Russia tries, it cannot obscure the simple fact. It was Russia that ignored all commitments it made as a signatory of the Minsk agreements in 2014. It is Russia that is the aggressor, and Ukraine, which is simply defending its people, its territorial integrity, and its freedom in line with Article 51 of the UN Charter. But let us be clear. This war is indeed a tragedy. Russia and no one else is responsible for this war.
2 years ago, we urged Russia in this chamber to act in the interests of peace and to give the Minsk agreements a chance. The United Kingdom consistently called on all parties to implement their commitments under the Minsk agreements in full, right up until Putin signed a decree recognizing Donetsk and Luhansk as so-called independent entities. 3 days later, he invaded Ukraine.
Today's meeting, called by the Russian Federation to discuss the agreements it effectively killed, is one more example of total waste of time and resources. Indeed, it has always been Russia's modus operandi to kill international agreements, peace and security, credibility of international institutions, and first and foremost, innocent people.
Now make a statement in my capacity as the representative of Guyana.
Cependant, après les premiers développements positifs, la Russie a commencé à perturber le processus et à ignorer les accords de Minsk. Elle l'a fait par le biais de mesures administratives, notamment en délivrant des passeports russes et en organisant des élections à la Douma dans des territoires occupés en 2021.